Hi folks, and welcome to my video. Today I'm going to talk about graphs, and to talk about it we're going to use a problem I found on Codeforces called books exchange. Okay, I will leave the link in the description for those who are interested. So let's dive directly into the problem. We have the story. There are n students. Okay, each student has a favorite book. Every day, one student gives their current book to their partner. Each student's partner represented in the permutation P. So here, for example, we have n equals 4 and P equals 1, 3, 2, 0. Okay, there are n elements in P. So what does it mean? It means basically that we have n students, which are 4 students. Okay, each student has a book. Okay. And the permutation means that for example, the first element is 1. We count from 0 to n minus 1, so that means that the first person is 0, then the second one is 1, then the third one is 2, okay? So the first element is 1, which means that the first students give his book to the student number 1, okay, the next day. Okay, we have this. The second element is 3, which means that he gives his book to the number 3, okay? And the third element is 2, which means that he gives the book to himself, okay? And the last one is 0, which means that the books go back to number 0. So here is the task. So here we get the numbers. The task is to print for each student the number of days it will take for their favorite book to get returned to them, which means that, for example, if we consider this example, for student number 0, it will exactly take 3 days, because the first day, the book will be in the hands of number 1, then the next day, day 2, in the hands of number 3. And day 3, it will be in the hands of number 0. So in total, we have 3 days. And for number 2, for example, it's only 1 day, because the next day he gives the book to himself, so he just keeps the book. So there is no problem here. Okay, so here's the task. How can we solve that? So a very simple way is simply to look at each student and follow the journey of the book. One way is to look for each student and supervise the journey of the book, which means that, for example, for the first student, we're going to set a pointer at 0, for example, then we'll see where 0 is going. It goes to 1, okay, we increment the variable, we got 1. Then we follow, we got 3, which is 0, then we go back, and here we are at the beginning. Okay, we got 3. Then we do that for the second one, so we got to 3, then we go to 0, then we go to 1, okay, it's 3. Then we increment 3, and we set it, okay, and we print the variable, which means the number of days. So that is one approach that we might consider, okay? So here's the explanation. For number 0, we got 3 days, number 1, 3 days, number 2, 1 day, and number 3, 3 days. I'm going to introduce some variables we will use in this case, in this kind of approach. These are how I call them, okay? And this is how I would implement this. Many people will find another way to do it with maybe less variables, but this is my approach. Feel free to suggest any way you will do. We got S, which is the ID of the students we are currently in, okay? The one which we want to print the number of days. Then we have the count variable, which is an integer, count the number of times we iterate through the list for student S, okay? Then we have current partner, which is the student we are currently in during our journey, okay? The ID of student, okay, it's an ID. Then we have partner, which is an array, a list, a kind of list, a permutation. Partner I represent the ID of the student's I partner, okay? So here, for example, partner is 1, 3, 2, 0. Partner 0, for example, is 1. Partner 2 is 2. Okay, partner 3 is 0. Then we have days. The final result will count for student I, for example, will be stored in days I. So how can we implement this idea with some pseudocode? For each student S from 0 to n-1, because although we have n students, the last student is numbered n-1, so we go from 0 to n-1. We set the counter to 1, okay, because I will explain why 1. Set the current student to partners S, okay, because when we start, we directly go from the current student to his partner. Then we're gonna use a while condition. So while S is not equal to current student. So for example, if the person gives a book to himself, then his partner is himself. So the while condition won't be called. This is actually the point of this algorithm. So while it's not equal, then we change the value of current partner to his partner. Then we increment the number of days because the book has traveled, okay? And one moment, current partner will be equal to S, which is the initial student. So we're done. And we just have to take count, which is a variable we're interested in. Okay, this is the number of days. And for each student S from 0 to n-1, I'm doing another loop right now. We just print what we found, okay? So let's see how it looks like. So here I have nothing against human beings, but they are graphically hard to represent. So I'm going to use vertices instead. This is a vertex is a circle, and an edge is simply one arrow. The blue arrows are edges, which means that there is a connection between one vertex to another, and the connection is one edge. We have one arrow, one orange arrow, which is current student. Okay, this is a variable. Here we have number of days, normally what we should find, and the partner, list of partners. Okay, so far the list of days is empty because we didn't actually calculate how many days it will take. So just do not consider it as being full. We will just fill it throughout time. Okay, so the first thing to do is to count from, we'll set the count to 1, then we set the current student to partner S. So partner S is equal to 0 so far, okay? So we're going to see for 0, his partner is 1, okay? So we go to 1. Then we take the partner of 1, which is 3, so we go to 3. Then we take the partner of 3, which is 0, so we go to 0. Okay, and as we have incremented twice, and count is already equal to 1 at the beginning, then it's 2 plus 1, which is 3. Okay, so we set 3, then we do the same thing for 2, for 1, we got 3. Then if we do it for 2, current student will be equal to 2 itself, so the while condition won't be called, then we will just get the count, which is already equal to 1, so it's 1, and it's the same thing for 3, okay? You have noticed that if we know how many days it will take for 0, then we know how many days it will take for 3 and 1, because they are all in the same set, which means that the books are traveling in the same cycle. So if we know for one person in the cycle, then we know for all the people. So let's see the second approach. So to do it, we're just gonna cluster, okay, all vertices. We want to see which sets are visible and apparent. So now I'm gonna use magic wand, and here we have 2 sets. we can number the sets 0, 1, or 1, 0 as you want. Makes sense for 0, 1 because the first one is in 0. So we're gonna use additional lists, call sets, and visit it. Why visit it? It's because when we are traveling through all the nodes, we want to know exactly which one hasn't been in a set. So if we travel from 0 and then go to 1 and 3, then we will just lead them, mark them as visited. So we know that they are in a set. So when we iterate through all the nodes, all the people, if we find someone who hasn't been visited, that means that this person is in another set, and we will create a set for him. Okay? So this is a pseudocode. I just took the other pseudocode and added some information, okay, in red. So I just added the visited, the list, false, 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 which means that it is initiated as everyone and no one has been visited. And d equals -1, because if we find someone who's been visited, then we only increment it, okay? So if we increment -1, we get 0. I want to start at set 0. Then we count days s is equal to d, because days won't be the number of days, but which set this person is. And set is actually the number of days anyone in the set will have to wait for their book to be returned. Then I've just added set days current partner to d, okay, and we're just gonna print the set of the students set, the number of days this set convey as an information. Then at the end, we're just gonna print for each student from 0 to n-1 the number of days it will take to them. And as days s is equal to which set this person is in s, then, and sets number of set is the number of days, then we're gonna print sets days s. Now that we have some pseudocode, it will be greatly interesting to see how we can implement it with the programming language. So let's jump into the implementation in C++. So here we are in the IDE. This is where we are going to implement the actual code. So I've already declared everything which is important, such as n, partner, days, sets, d, visited, and counter. Visited is now is not a Boolean actually array. It's simply an integer array which is equal to 0 all the way through. Then we will just take the value as an input of n. Then for n times we're going to take partner I for I equals 0 to all the way till we have I equals n-1. Okay, so now we have fulfilled n and partner, the whole array. So now we can start the actual algorithm. Okay, so first thing we have to do is to iterate through all people. Okay, now if this person is not visited, then we're visited. Okay, so first thing we have to do is to declare it as visited. We are going to increment d, then days I is equal to d, then we are going to create something called current, which is equal to partner partner I. Okay, now we can create while loop. So as long as current is not equal to I, we are going to set visited current to 1, then days d current equals d, then the counter is incremented, but the counter is also initialized as to 1 at the beginning. Okay, and current is equal to partner current. Great. Okay, sounds good. So now as we get out this while loop, That means that now current is equal to I. So we are going to set day to counter. Great, sounds good. Okay, so now we are going to get out of this loop and create a new loop. Okay, now this time we are only going to print out the answers. We know that the answers are inside sets. Okay, but how can we access actually for I 0, for example? We know that the set of I is inside days I, so we are just going to write days I. Okay, and this is actually the number of days which will take for I to get the book back. Great. Now we are going to write and try it. Compile it. Wants to work. Great. Okay. So we got 4 students. First one gets out. And great. So now we have 3, 3, 1, 3. We are going to try another one. Let's say that we have okay, so let's say that we have, for example, 3 students. The first one gives to 1, for example, the second to 2, and the third 3. And it's the third one will have to wait 3 days, the second one as well, and the third one as well. So now it's working. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, feel free to leave a like. See you next time. Goodbye.